Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afro Anime Initiative podcast, a place where we like to show representation, diversification, and just all around love for the black characters that we used to watch as kids in our cartoons and our anime. I'm your host, Darren Bradley, along with my co host,
Paulina
Miss.
Guerriere. It's nice to meet all of you, and thank you for tuning in. First and foremost, if you want to interact with us even more aside from this podcast, please hit us up on our social media Facebook, Afro Anime Initiative, the three full words, on our Twitter, Afro underscore capital AI, and our YouTube, Afro underscore AI.
And just to let you guys know, for any suggestions, any comments, write them down in the description box below. We'd love to hear from you, love to interact with you. So, right now, everybody's talking about one thing. At least all the geeks I know are talking about one thing: Black
Yep.
Panther. And we hope during this podcast you get to know us and you get to find out the things we like, the anime we enjoy, the cartoon styles we like. But we could not pass up the opportunity to talk about all the incarnations of the Black Panther throughout animation
Yep.
history. Paulina, how does that
That
sound?
sounds awesome, actually. So there's so much that we can get into in terms of his appearance, the overall story, what is focused on throughout the years, throughout the decades, really. We all know that the Black Panther made his first appearance way back in the '60s, but with Fantastic Four. But I didn't really see him make much of an appearance until what, like the '90s? Is that right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so starting with I think like the
Yeah,
X-Men around this.
and more mass
Yeah.
media stuff. Yeah,
So I just find that
'cause that's
really really interesting.
oh, dude, the Marvel in the '60s and '70s. If you weren't selling, they didn't write about you. And even though Black Panther was kind of popular, he wasn't selling. They didn't write
True.
about him.
That is true, which is why it's I mean I felt that I haven't seen Black Panther as much compared to a lot of other superheroes, but it makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
So, I just like for me, I find it just again really really interesting the evolution of Black Panther in animation. Like we all know how the cartoons were in the '90s, real cheesy. Like it's if you just look back and look at them, it just half the time didn't make sense. But I mean, there was a story, not to be mistaken or anything of the sort. But it's just it's just really interesting compared to there's the Black Panther TV series in 2010. It was like a comic animation, if that is the correct term. Motion,
Motion
yeah.
capture anime.
And I just think that it's just really really cool how far Black Panther has gone in terms of being a cameo versus having, a very own show.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna get to the show you're talking about. I believe that's the
Mhm.
BET one, the one they ran
Yeah.
for 6 episodes. Well, we're gonna get to that. We got to
Right,
work our
right.
way through some stuff before we get to that.
That is
But I
mhm.
remember that one. I remember when that came out. That was a big landmark. That was a hallmark. It was like, okay, so Marvel was actually serious about a black character that wasn't a complete stereotype. And unfortunately, a lot of the black heroes around that time did have a some of the stereotypes still held over from their early days in their creations. Even they were doing better, but that Black Panther was the first one to be like, nah, we're
Right.
not gonna do that. And it was really cool to see. Which, like I said, what you say, 2010, yeah, when it came
Mhm.
out.
And that's the kind of thing that impresses me the most is just watching Black Panther on the screen. It really cued me in as to like, it's he's just not your stereotypical black superhero or black hero, period. He's very very different. He stands out from the rest, which is yeah,
He's the
exactly,
king.
which is why interestingly enough, I think is part of the reason why we haven't seen Black Panther so much in popular media compared to the other superheroes in both in Marvel in the Marvel universe.
I,
I mean, for me. I mean, for
I
me,
would,
from what I've
I,
seen. I mean, I understand
I,
that yours is a little
I
different,
would,
but
I would agree, but it also it comes also to a time because, like I said, something that my listeners don't know about me, I'm really into comic books. Most of my geekdom starts from comic books. If it wasn't from early cartoons in the 80s when I was growing up, everything else comes from comic books. And understanding the history of Marvel now that I'm a little more adult, a lot of stuff that they did was just to be like, yo, we need to make money so we can keep
yeah.
our doors open. And there are just certain, unfortunately, there's certain things that would not sell. People wouldn't put their hard-earned money behind. Which, as we see just from the pre-orders of Black Panther tickets, all
Yeah.
that's changing. Like people really will put money behind the things they want to support, and hopefully will take that money away from things that don't support them. But again, also another
Yeah. Right.
conversation.
Well, I mean, the thing I can say about that is that it's just they're doing this at a very good time. That's all I can
Yes,
say. It could have not come at a much better time. And like you said, this is another conversation for another episode because we can go in real deep about this. Not just about Black Panther, but
we
also
can.
about, people screaming about representation with Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
What was the timing with that? What was the timing with other superheroes, black superheroes throughout Marvel? So,
And like I said, with Black Panther literally being the first, and people want to say black or African character, he was the first. He came out before everybody else. Now other people may have gotten series before him. I believe yes, Luke Cage got his own series before Black Panther,
yeah,
but Panther was first. Panther was before Storm. Panther is before John Stewart and Green
definitely.
Lanterns and DL and DC. He's before Cyborg. Like Panther, no matter what you say about him, he will always be the first black superhero. Like he has powers. Were there other black characters
Of
in
course.
comic
Yeah.
books? Of course. There were entire companies of black comic book creators, which they don't talk about a lot, which again, whole nother conversation. But he was the first one with superpower to be like, oh no, I'm out here fighting. I'm out here side by side with the most popular heroes of the time, the Fantastic Four, kicking butt and taking names, which actually I think perfectly leads in us to talk about our first appearance of Black Panther, the Fantastic Four cartoon. We want to give people a little bit of
I'm
background on
sorry.
that one.
I'm like, okay, I saw that episode. You sent me a link of like a quick summary of it, but I looked at the episode itself, and like I said a little bit earlier about just because of the time that this came out, it was like the mid '90s. It's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was for it I could see that it was monumental, but at the same time, it was just the cheese, Darren, the cheesiness. I
Mm-hmm.
I can't even get into it, but the okay, so for those of you who don't know, is that what Black Panther does, or what he did actually with the Fantastic Four, was that I believe he called for them for help, and he essentially ambushed them for a test of their strength, basically. And the way it was set up in the cartoon, it like he put them down one by one, like a predator, but it was like the way it was put together at the end, like him I think and him and the Thing were kind of a match, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, because he drugged the thing to make him weak. One of the most powerful characters in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
He drugged him to make
Uh-huh.
him weak so he could take him on.
Because he knew how powerful this guy was. And I just honestly I just couldn't help but laugh the whole time, putting Johnny Storm in that box, taking away his powers. Like I just had to, I'm sorry. Like, it was just
Oh, I understand. the thing is, seeing that for the first time and just seeing a black character, because when they introduce him, the first thing he does is take off his shirt and it's like a strong, chiseled black man, brown skin cartoon. You're like, okay,
Right?
this is about to be dope. Um, and before this, like I said, this the cartoon was in the '90s. That comic book came out in the '60s. I didn't know how comic book accurate this episode
Really?
was. Like it's very faithful to what happens in the original comic book appearance of Black Panther. As a kid, I was just like, oh my god, this these are bad. Even as a kid, I was like, these are bad jokes.
They were?
These are just bad jokes. But it's cool because it's the
Yeah.
Fantastic Four. Like it's still a Fantastic Four, and to see a king, they emphasize he's a king. This is his country, but he still needs some help. And the fact that he took out four of the most powerful beings in Marvel Comics single handedly, one by
Yeah,
one,
he
he took
did.
them down.
And that was, I think that was really really interesting that they took that approach because um I think it speaks to Black Panther as a character, as to, if you're worthy to work with me, let me put that to the test. Let me see how good you are in combat and upholding whatever it is that you stand for before I can decide working with you or having you help me protect
Mm-hmm.
Wakanda and whatever it else that needs to be protected. And I have a random question though, random, and this pertains to the
Mm-hmm.
Marvel or the movie verse or any other media besides the cartoons. Real quick, I'm asking myself, because Black Panther and the Fantastic Four had such an interesting first meeting and collaboration. I'm asking myself, will there be such a thing in the future in terms of either live action film or television series? Because looking at the track record of the Fantastic Four movies, I don't think we can talk much about that right now as standalone. But I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, that's the thing. It's just it's 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 terrible to say this, and probably not, but it's not like they can't do a Fantastic Four movie. The Incredibles is a
Mm,
Fantastic Four movie. The
that
Incredibles
is
is a
true.
box office success. The second one looked like it's gonna be incredible. Look, no pun intended. But you can make a successful Fantastic Four movie, but you have to make it the Fantastic Four. You have to make it what made those characters so popular. And yeah, you tweak it for modern age. Maybe you change the costumes, but you don't move away from the
Hmm.
characterization, which is something to bring it back to the cartoon. Even though that cartoon was so cheesy, those characters,
Hmm.
it was
That is
them.
true.
It's like when I looked at that cartoon before I was reading the comic books, the dude that was the voice of Ben Grimm, I heard his voice when I read the comic books. Um, when they showed them working together as a family, that's what they did in the comic books. You can have a little bit of friction and things, but at the end of the day, the Fantastic Four, that's not
Hmm.
what they are about. So if you want to do that properly and then make sure it works with other stuff, you have to get the characterization right. Which once again, for Black Panther's first appearance in the cartoon, they
Okay.
got it right. Even back then, they knew like, okay, let's just write the character and see how people like it. And even like I said, for such a cheesy cartoon, the characterization of Panther and what Wakanda was at the time from the books was very accurate.
That's good. At least, at least they pinned down, how Black Panther is and Fantastic Four. So I guess it's just at this point, it's just a bit of a waiting game, really. If whichever movie studio gets their ish together for Fantastic Four, then it would be something I would be looking forward to. I would actually love to see that
Yeah.
on the big screen. I would love to see Black Panther just taking down the Fantastic Four, seeing how good they would be to help him and work with him. So
Hmm.
yeah, it would be really fun to see that. So
Agreed. So when's the next time the Panther shows
um
up?
2006 actually. 2000, it was
Say it again.
Ultimate Avengers 2 Rise of the Panther. It was like an animated movie in 2006.
So from 1990s to 2006, there are no other appearances of the Black Panther in
Uh,
animation.
as far as I know, from what I've been able to find out, yeah. Unless I'm looking in the wrong places. Right.
Bloody terrible. And the thing is, when he does appear in that
Mhm.
Ultimate Avengers movie, oh, it's bad.
Wait,
It's so
wait, bad in
bad.
a good way or bad in like a bad?
No, 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 no. Not Michael Jackson
Oh
bad.
no.
Bad. Because again, I'm a big comic book fan, so I
Mhm.
was reading the Ultimate Universe. The Ultimate Universe changed a lot of stuff for Marvel, for the
Right.
comic book industry in general, and there are things in the Ultimate Universe which actually has been reflected in the regular Marvel continuity in comic books that is what helped Marvel get a lot of their success in
Mhm.
the 2000s.
Oh.
This was not one of
Yeah,
them.
I've heard pretty. No,
His,
I've heard pretty.
go ahead.
Ugh, like blah. Like I can't even say it. Like not terrible, but just not a lot of people were happy with it.
Sorry, it was the animation style was
Mhm.
kind of cheap.
Mhm.
The voice acting was fine. The setup, though intact in the Ultimate Universe, it stayed from the Ultimate Universe. It wasn't stuff that was established yet in the comic books, so they didn't have a
Mhm.
real foundation. And you could tell they did those we
Yeah.
cut corners through animation storytelling instead of being like, let's try to adapt something that's been fleshed
Right.
out completely already.
But it seems to me that just real quick that the 2000s was when they really put a lot of focus on on bringing in Black Panther, but still not drawing so much attention to it because like you said it's such a huge gap between the mid 90s to 2006.
But that's not a Black Panther thing. That's a Marvel thing. By then, they're trying to
Mhm.
expand as much as they possibly
Right.
can because they're popular again. As the comic book bust of the '90s almost destroyed even a place like Marvel. We wouldn't think that Marvel would ever go away, but no, the comic bust almost destroyed
Mhm.
that company. And so if you weren't selling if you just weren't selling, they weren't putting a lot of effort behind you. Merchandise, comic books, definitely not on the television and division. That's why the best cartoon that Marvel had for the longest and almost only time was the X-Men until they were able to get the
Yeah, that's
Spider-Man
true.
cartoon right. So and
Yep.
those are always their
Those two
biggest
number one.
sellers.
Yes, I remember very clearly just seeing those two. They were
And they
classics.
tried right. They tried to do other stuff. There's some Iron Man
There was
cartoons
some
in there, some Avengers
Captain
cartoons,
America
and
too,
it was
barely
just
though.
bad.
Captain America made more like
Yeah,
cameo
and
appearances. Like I remember there was one like Captain America and Friends, like featuring Spider-Man. That was terrible. Okay,
hmm
from I remember seeing
yeah,
that as a kid. I just remember that was my first introduction to Captain America. Actually, I never heard of him before, and I'm like, who's Captain America? What is he great for? Like, it just didn't stick for me at all. So, yeah, those were
yeah,
they were pretty big in terms of just the appeal, the fan appeal, and just those were the two X-Men and Spider-Man in terms of animation until later on to the 2000s, really.
yeah. hmm And like I said, that movie, even though it was like I said, it was really nice to have it centered around Black Panther, centered around Wakanda. You see the technological advance of Wakanda. You see the things they have. They showed there's a scene where the Avengers are fighting the tribesmen. Like they just got a bunch of spears. What thing they do to us? And they found out the spears have vibranium. They're like, okay, why are we getting beat up by sticks?
Right.
Because they don't realize it's metal lace.
Hmm.
It doesn't have the vibranium. And I believe this is the first time in cartoon form where they actually really get into vibranium and actual science. Because unlike the Fantastic Four cartoon, no, it does stuff with sound, and that's the only thing they were going to explain to children back then. Like, no, the metal does things with sound, but with this, they're like, no, it's the capabilities and the properties and why it's so valuable and why alien
Hmm.
Nazis would try to come and take it. Like they
Yeah,
really
they
got
definitely
into
did.
it in this movie. And again, it was a time Marvel has never been the best at animation, but this was just it was kind of cheap. It was kind of cheap animation. The Black Panther costume was just weird looking. It's like they had to show skin. No, he is black. He is black. It's like
This is
okay.
like where, but
I
okay.
mean, you could have it. You if you look at that costume, they show his mouth, they show his arms. Um, they do give him his transformation powers, I believe, in this one where he can become a panther, which is something that comes in and out of the comic book. Whether he can actually transform into a
Mhm.
real panther. And this is the first time we see this in animation, by the
Mhm.
way, the transformation stuff. But it's also the fact that it's one of those things where they don't think people are smart enough to realize he's a black character. Like it's okay to have a scene where he's um, out of costume, but again, it's that animation storytelling. Do we really want to take time to
Right.
draw a whole new asset of
Right.
him just being a regular person? No, let's just
Mhm.
only
But
have him in
even
his
but
costume.
I'm looking at it, even the costume wasn't complete. Like the costume, it it was like you said, you could tell that they were being very cheap with the not just the animation, but I think with the costuming that they put for some of the characters as well. Um,
Which were they were comic book accurate, but you could tell like with especially for Marvel, whoever they at the
mhm.
time had animating their studios, which you probably have in front of you, but the anime studios they have, Marvel didn't always go out there and pay for the
No, they
top notch
didn't.
animation studios. They almost never have.
You're right.
Like they've never done that, and that's not a diss to those animators. They probably worked hard to meet their
Mhm.
deadlines, but it's the quality just isn't there.
Hello? Oh, is everything okay?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse the weird uh random interruption. I just thought the connection was being very strange. Please continue.
no, that was really it. It's just that you can tell that the animation was there wasn't a lot of money put into that.
No.
Which again, that's Marvel is still coming out of bankruptcy. They're getting back on their feet. They want to make this stuff, but maybe not. Budget was more important than quality.
Mhm.
But again, like I said, it was a decent movie, accurate to things. They tried to switch it up because, like I said, again, those cartoons are based off the Ultimate Universe, a
Mhm.
separate universe from the main Marvel universe. But it did its job well. It portrayed the characterizations very well of everything, but especially the Panther.
Yeah. So, the next one that he appears in, but apparently it's a non-speaking cameo, like he just shows up,
Mm-hmm.
is it's in 2008. And
Mm-hmm.
Next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow. But
That's the one where the Avengers are the kids from the future come around, and that's a really good looking Panther. But again, he don't talk.
right. Right, right.
Really good
Like
looking
after
Panther in that
right,
version.
after the weirdness that it was 2006, you finally get you get a good-looking panther, but he's not saying nothing. Like,
Yeah,
why?
yeah. That movie, at the time I remember watching, I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. It's kind of comic book accurate, but you can't rewatch it again, especially now with the quality of animation these days.
Mhm.
You look at that like, oh my god, why did I like this? Why did this look good to me
Right.
back then? But it was a really good story, and like I
Mhm.
said, the Panther has a son in there. I
Mhm.
believe it is the son of him and Storm,
Yeah.
and it's the first time in cartoon where they acknowledge that there's a potential relationship between Panther and Storm, which was really cool because, like you said, for a while all we had was Storm.
Yes, we did.
So this is the one of the big major acknowledgments. Like, oh, plus they can look. Wait, superheroes have sex? Cool.
Yeah.
And this was for a lot of people. It's the first time it was fully acknowledged that Panther and Storm will get together, and
Mhm.
there's a future there.
Right.
I believe this is. I'm messing up my dates. So sorry about that, everybody. But I believe this is before it's official in the comic books. There's hints of it, but they're not married yet in the comic books when this comes out. I think this is
Mm-mm.
some future stuff that they're alluding to before it actually becomes official in the books. Like of course, like I said, it's talked about, it's speculated, they have an attraction, but it's not. concrete into around this. We're like, no, we have a kid.
Whoa. That's well, that's something that I would have to look deeper into because okay. Well, I mean, after that, the next one, I think it's in Iron Man. If I'm not,
Mhm.
yeah, Iron Man Armored Adventures in 2009. And there isn't from
I didn't.
what?
Oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. Say it. What were you
No.
gonna say?
I didn't watch this show a lot. I was, out of the phase of, being open about watching cartoons as a semi adult.
Mhm.
So I didn't really watch this a lot, but I did catch the episode of the Black Panther,
Mhm.
and I found it was really interesting what they were doing with the characters. They de-aged a lot of characters,
Mhm.
but still gave them their full superpowers. Like, because in this, Tony is a kid, but he's full Iron Man. He has the full suit, all the power, all the weaponry. Pepper Potts is there, but she's a little teenage preteen girl.
Mhm.
And when the Panther shows up, it's like, okay, but y'all really dealing with Panther stuff. The political stuff, the intrigue, the betrayal of Wakandans, and what they do, vibranium. But it's with that slight factor that these are way younger than they should be when they dealt with it.
Mhm.
I found it interesting.
Right. Like that's. I think it goes with most storylines whenever they talk about or whenever they kind of de-age characters and put them in the same type of scenarios or similar scenarios that their adult counterparts were in. It takes a very interesting twist. Like, yeah, I just find it interesting how they handle that.
Hmm. They didn't stray away from it. If I remember this correctly, he's fighting against the coup. People have stolen vibranium,
Mhm.
but he's out there. He's fighting, and they don't stray away from any of that stuff. And he battles against really decent level Marvel villains. So it was an experimental show, but it wasn't like I said. I wasn't a time I was watching cartoons or anime or anything like that.
Mhm.
But it had some cool premises, and the animation was really nice. It was fluid. It was smooth. It allowed for them to do some interesting things, especially when it came to action.
Mhm.
So it was an okay show.
It was considering what the time period it came out and the type of animation that like I just found it interesting that they used that um kind of animation in 2009.
Hmm.
Although like it's reminiscent of a lot of like 3D animation shows in the earlier 2000s like 2001 or 2002. That's why I'm like very iffy on it in terms of animation,
Hmm.
but that's just my personal preference. But like
Hmm.
you're right though. It's a lot more fluid. It is a lot more what? Just easier to follow instead of the
Yeah.
weird
Hmm.
choppy block like
Yeah.
I can't even call it CGI. I don't even know what it is.
Hmm.
So yeah. So the next one is same year, but it was the superhero squad show, and that one it's like I think they came out with a line of toys with that one if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
Yeah, and they're like these
I know.
weird squat little superheroes people.
Hmm.
They're really
They're just
adorable.
miniature versions.
Mhm.
They're adults with their miniature.
Yeah.
Never watched that show.
I
Never did.
I watched bits and pieces and just you could just tell that it's a kids show, like purely
Hmm.
kids show for either the
Hmm.
purposes of selling toys or what have you. But it was definitely like truly a kids show because it was I don't know, the humor was really juvenile. I laughed at
Hmm.
it a little bit. I'll admit I have really bad humor. You know what? I'm not afraid to admit it. It was cute, but it was definitely something that was just its target was kids underneath the age of 10 if not younger.
Hmm.
So yeah, and
I think.
the animation itself was definitely reminiscent of early 2000s again, which is why I find it really interesting why they chose that sort of animation style for what we're in 2018 right now. Oh my gosh. and this was 2009. Yeah,
Mhm.
like 10 years ago.
Mhm.
So, but again, the animation changes as quickly as technology now. So,
Yeah. I, I think the most memorable thing about that show was all the Marvel characters was in it.
yes.
Everybody was allowed in this show.
Everybody,
Galactic,
yep, everyone was in it.
Galactic Heroes, Street Level, the
Yep.
Mutants, everybody was in that
Yep.
show because they wanted to sell as many
Yes.
toys as possible.
No, you're right. Because I actually remember when the toys came out, and I remember just looking at the toys like, what are these? And then looking back at the show, it's like that makes sense. That makes a whole mess of sense as to why they did it the way they did. And the actor who did Black Panther was, I think, Tay Diggs, and
Okay.
his okay. I'm also gonna probably talk about like the voice actors on these.
Why do you wait till we like 5 episodes in? Why did you talk about them
No,
before?
no, I'm not gonna go in depth. I'm just gonna I just want to point out that for me personally, like from again, like just a few of the episodes that I saw, it was his his accent was just off-putting. Like it just didn't sell it for me for Black Panther.
Mhm.
So that
See, but if I remember correctly, they kind of sounded like children pretending to be adults. I think that was the
was it?
point.
Huh.
Yeah, because I think I went back and watched the clip of the Panther
Mhm.
episode. Well, I know I went back and watched the clip of the Panther episode. I don't know why I said I think. I went back and watched the clip of the Panther
Mhm.
episode, and Storm, when she talks, it sounds like a little girl pretending to be adult.
Cause
My boyfriend's gonna beat
cause it
you up.
was
It's like what?
no, you're right. Cause it was I think it was Cree Summer who was Storm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
and we know Cree is
Mhm.
extensive in the voice acting
Yep.
field, but I think that was done on purpose. They all sound like little
Right.
children pretending to be
That is
adults.
true. But then, oh my god, that okay because you brought that up. I know that we're talking about animation, but then like it just immediately reminds me of the. I think it was I don't know how many issues they released of the like literal baby versions of the Avengers.
Yeah, the Scotty Young stuff.
Yes.
Those things are great, especially when they do his comic book covers and they sell them as individual posters.
Mhm.
Those are
Those were
incredible.
great.
And then they started turning them into toys and statues and things later
Yeah.
on. Especially like when Funko Pop started blowing up. They're like, wait, we already have this. Let's make
Right.
money.
And jumped on the bandwagon. Just buy all our
Hmm.
stuff. Just get it.
Oh yeah, the Scotty Young, little Avengers are beautiful. They're well
Mhm.
done.
So that's when you said that, it just immediately reminded me of that. So it works in that way. It's just a weird superhero squad show. It's just weird. Okay, so
Yeah.
2010, the the
2010.
Black Panther, just Black Panther from
Just Black Panther.
BET. Yes, that one.
Yes.
I have
BET, I believe it was 6 episodes, correct?
I yes, yeah. It was 6 episodes.
Yep, 6 episodes based off the first volume of Reginald Hudlin's Black Panther comic book. I believe it's volume
Mhm.
4. I still own all the single issues, first print of
Yep.
those, and it was such a remarkable expansion into the Black Panther mythos because Christopher Priest had just finished a very lengthy run before they decided to do this
Mhm.
version, the volume 3, which ran for about 63 issues.
Wow.
And Christopher Priest brings in so many concepts that if they're not there now, we would think are
Mhm.
foreign, such as the Dora Milaje, who appear for the first time in animation form in in this series. Because in the Ultimate Avenger series, I don't believe the Dora Milaje are called warriors.
Okay.
That's all. They're not called by
Mhm.
name. Um, so we get them, his female army. If you're not familiar who the Dora Milaje is, we get his female army in this. We get his standing as a king, what that means, and like you get the array of him not just facing, you know, in internal threats, you get exterior threats, and these exterior threats, if you're a Marvel Comics fan, are threats you like. Oh, I know that character from
Mhm.
this book. I know that character
Yep.
from this book. I know that when Spider-Man had trouble fighting
Yep.
this character, oh, Panther just take him out in three
Mhm.
seconds. Ooh, Panther's the
Right.
truth. And if you read the comic and you realize the changes they made from the comic to the animated series, how you can again see Marvel is still having to deal with some of the decisions they made when they were bankrupt, selling stuff off to different
Mhm.
people. But when they change the stuff around, it's like it makes perfect sense. It's like this is the first time outside of the comic books where they put true effort into making it as good as possible. All the voice acting is top notch. Yes, motion capture animations, that stop motion stuff, which always looks weird. Like, let's be honest, it always looks weird. But they put time to make sure that everything worked together with the voice acting, with the staging. That if a character was saying something, of course his mouth didn't move, but it reflected the action of the panel. And then if you even compare it to the comic, it's like, oh yeah, I know exactly what issue this happened in. Oh, I remember when this, and it's just so well done. And I think it helped a lot that Reginald Hudlin was a major player at BET at the time while he was writing the
Mhm.
book. So I think that really helped to make sure they didn't screw it
Mhm.
up. But it is one of the greatest expansions of the Panther mythos if you only read the comic books. And it's a great introduction if you've never read the comic book. The scene where they discuss how he beat Captain America, or his grandfather beat
Oh
Captain
my God,
America.
yes. Okay, okay. Like you were saying, it's a great, fantastic introduction to the just Black Panther period. And you're absolutely right because I was drawn in like immediately in the first from the first episode when a neighboring tribe was trying to invade, and then you just had that one remaining survivor, just one, to warn everybody of trying to don't mess with Wakanda. you know and the Captain America story, I had to laugh at it because I knew immediately that it was going to be like a confrontational story between the Black Panther before our current one, and Captain America back in World War II, when they were talking about that in the what is it, that White House briefing,
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out ways to go into Wakanda. Yeah, and the they were told that, well, the Black Panther is not to be contended with. Like, Wakanda is well protected. Even Captain America couldn't, even be bothered with working with them or doing anything because, right, because he was sent to ward off the Nazis, right? Yeah, to
Mm-hmm.
get the vibranium, if I'm saying it correctly, and
Mm-hmm.
vibranium,
Vibranium.
yeah. And Black Panther took care of it already. By the time he got there, it was like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, we're good. You're trespassing though. You can leave.
And and again, this is one of those, and just like in the comic book, this show, it's how they introduce the Panther. It's not like, oh, he just appeared right now. It's like, no, no, no. He has a history in this
Yes.
universe. They've been doing it since the
Yep.
beginning. When they first introduced Claw's great great grandfather or
Oh my
something like
God.
that,
Yeah.
it's like Panther's been fighting against Claw since the
Mhm.
beginning, and they show the colonialism and how they think of Africans, and how even the Africans like, no, we're not going to Wakanda. Y'all might have enslaved us, but we still not
Right.
stupid. We're not going to help y'all fight
Right.
Wakanda.
All
And
tribes. We're not
it
going.
shows it shows that beauty of the country and the unconquerable and how the Panther protects them, because every step of the way they fight back and succeed. That is something that you don't even kind of get in the previous animated
Mm-mm.
series. You get in the Fantastic Four, the reason he's going for the Fantastic Four, because Claus already beat him. When you get to the Ultimate
Mhm.
Avengers movie, he's going for help because the aliens have
Yep.
infiltrated. When you get to Marvel Heroes, it's just kiddie stuff. There's no
Yep.
stakes here. When you even get to the Iron Man cartoon, it's just him doing his best as a young king. Like I said, he's still a child. But in this, like, no, 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 fully developed, fully formed, fully trained, fully crowned. Try
Mhm.
something. And you even see, like I said, with all the things the villains are trying to do, the stages they set up, all the planning. It's like, nah, it's not enough. Sorry if we're doing any spoilers for anybody that haven't seen this stuff. Go watch it. Go find it. BT is showing it right now because of the
Mhm.
movie. You probably could get it for cheap right now on DVD. Go find it. But it's one of the most just well done narrations, period, because it gives you a
Mhm.
history without being too much, but it shows you a lot. It gives you current day action, so you're involved in it, and it expands on the thought process of what this character is because again, Wakanda is shown well. The setup of the Dora Milaje is shown well. The Panther protecting his people from everything is shown well. It is just so well fleshed out. And yes, that is due from them being very good to the source
Mhm.
material, but also them taking time to be like, yo, if we're going to do this, let's show what we have in the Black Panther
Yep.
character.
And it was personally like I absolutely love world building. So imagine my delight seeing this. Like, yes, they're focusing on Black Panther and Wakanda and everything within it. That only, not Captain America, not Iron Man, not the Fantastic Four, Black Panther. And it's in
Mm-hmm.
depth. Oh, like we yeah, like 6 episodes, 20 minutes long per episode.
Mm-hmm.
But it just pulls you in, and it great cast too. Like impressed. Like I Jill Scott was
Mm-hmm.
Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I love me some Jill Scott. So just this show is great, y'all. If you haven't seen it, like you said, just go, just do what you can legally to see this. But
I didn't say legally. Don't put words on
no,
mouth. I didn't say that.
hey, I know you didn't, but I'm just saying. Look, if you just get it, just go and see what you can.
We are not we are not responsible for the actions of our listeners and whatever they take to enjoy this
look,
beautiful blackness.
look,
That is their prerogative.
I get it, but I don't want anybody to get in trouble here. So I want people
We are not
to
responsible for
be
bail
around
money.
long
We're
enough.
not responsible for fines. We're not responsible for any computer viruses you might catch trying to do something. If you decide to get it, however
Right.
you decide to get it, that's on you.
True.
Because I've already watched it 1,000 times. I ain't got to get
Right.
nothing.
But yeah, you can do what you can to see it and talk about it. Send us messages. Talk about it on our Facebook. Talk about it on Twitter. Talk about it anywhere. Feed into the excitement that is the amazing Black Panther movie and other media because Black Panther is Black Panther. That's what makes him
Yeah.
amazing because he's Black Panther. And it's again another conversation for another episode, but I just want to quickly touch upon this is that personally I feel like another really good reason why it's just so popular is that it's literally an example of a country in Africa and what it
Unconquered.
exactly what it may be.
No
Exactly, with
colonialism.
no colonialism whatsoever, and that's what makes it so powerful.
Yep.
And that's what kind of and that's
Yep.
what
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
annoyed me growing up, like looking back growing up, why I didn't have that in front of me. But that was
Hmm.
my upbringing. I'm going into it now, so.
And like
Mhm.
real quick, real shout out to Jack the King Kirby and Stan the Man Lee because they came up with the concept of
Yep.
Black Panther, and they even had that if somebody didn't get conquered, what would happen? And they had that concept back then, so we still got to show them love and
Yep.
props. And
Oh
like
yeah.
I said, after them, a lot of writers and definitely a lot of strong black writers such as Christopher Peace, Reginald Hudlin, and currently Ta-Nehisi
Mhm.
Coates have elaborated and expanded on that great concept, which we, like I said, are enjoying now, especially with the movie, with what they're doing with the movie is, yeah, it's so. Shout out to them,
Yep.
thank them,
Definitely.
and what we got next?
Okay. So, what we got now after that it was like the Avengers, yeah, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, same year. Same year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, real talk. This is when I say screw everybody else. I like to watch cartoons
Okay.
as an adult. Earth's Mightiest Heroes. They came out with these shorts that introduced the individual characters and their pantheons and all
Mhm.
this stuff. and it was so well done and comic book accurate. I was just like, why did it take them so long? We already know the comic books are a success. They make money. They've established companies. We already know that they doing so well. They can make these movies. I mean, Iron Man has been out. The first Avenger movie is on its way, 2010.
Mhm.
No, it is out. Avengers is out. It's like, so why did it take y'all so long to find a cartoon that was comic book accurate? And I can understand you saying you don't own the rights to half your characters. You sold them off to other people, but you sold them off to like the
Mhm.
movie form. Cartoon form, you own every last bit of them. And the Earth Mightiest Avengers started out with the original Avengers, Thor, Iron Man, uh,
Mhm.
Hulk, Ant Man, Wasp, characters we rarely see in cartoon form either, Ant Man
Yeah.
and the Wasp. And they built on the Avengers comic book accurately. Like when they find Captain America, it's after the Avengers have formed. Like it's like it was deep. It was deep the way they
Mhm.
did it. And like I said, I'm watching it, I'm enjoying it, and I'm not thinking anything of it. But when they finally bring the Panther in, they even bring the Panther in the way he is to the Avengers comic book accurate. The Panther comes to the Avengers to test them out because he
Right.
doesn't trust them. He thinks the Avengers could be a
Mhm.
threat to Wakanda. He doesn't see them as heroes. He sees them as a threat. And right then off the bat, you like, oh my God, this is just different. Like if you didn't read the comic books and you didn't know that's how the Panther reacted, you'd be like, he's not a hero, he's a bad guy. He is a hero, but it's for
Yep.
his
Yep.
people first. That is something that you also don't see a lot of animation representing for black people, where we come first and we're not worried about everybody else, and then we take care of ourselves. No, we take care of ourselves first. And Black Panther and Earth Mightiest Event is the for me the real first example of that. Hey, no, 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 I'm doing this for Wakanda. I don't care
Right.
about the rest of it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, the voice acting accurate, the costume accurate, the powers accurate, the storytelling from the source material almost perfectly comic book accurate. It was a revelation to see stuff done so well on the screen once a week. They show his villains in Baku, the man ape. You get Claw in there. We get the establishment of Wakanda. You get the Dora Milaje. You and all drawn accurately, beautiful, like no weird deformation, no, African, or I don't want to say African features, but like the way features, brown people's features are portrayed in cartoons sometimes is
Yeah.
over exaggerated. Like no, they look like people, but they look like badass people,
Right.
superheroes. It was a revelation to see that every week, because especially when the Panther joins the Avengers
Mhm.
permanently, he just doesn't become a guest character. And you see him every week showing off his intelligence, showing off his powers, showing off Wakanda. It was a
It was a
revelation.
revelation, and it's refreshing. Honestly, refreshing, because when it like as you mentioned, just the features and just how these Black Panther was portrayed, that it just wasn't. He wasn't a caricature. I'm terrible with words
Hmm.
today. Forgive me.
That's great when you do recording a podcast. I'm so glad that your ability to alliterate and enunciate is just gone.
Right. And it's just not a I again, just there's just so many parallels to what I have been looking at very recently. And I understand your excitement with this show because just recently, like in China for the Chinese New Year, they do like this comedy show where like what 7 million people watch 700 million, sorry, 700 million people watch this.
Hmm.
And I heard that there's always something that is bound to offend somebody or a group of people. And this year it's black people because what they decided to do was the positive relationship between Africa and China by doing a skit where, the actors dressed up in blackface. One
Hmm.
particular actress just dressed up in just an over exaggerated manner, elongated butt, a fruit basket skin, dark, big lips, and it looked terrible, absolutely terrible. And of course, people were upset, right? Screaming at China for being racist, or at least the Chinese government for allowing this. So it's perfect that you brought that up. How in certain media, the portrayal of what we need to see versus what is always shown and made fun of.
Hmm.
So I had to say that. I had to bring that in there because for me, it's
Oh
great.
no,
It's great what the Earth Mightiest what
it,
it did.
that's the again that's the reason for this podcast to show why representation matters, because people don't understand why this movie is so important for every brown person, because we are showing a nation that has not been conquered. Africa has been conquered completely. Ethiopia held out for as long as it could, but eventually they failed too. But in at least in this world, in this fictional world, Wakanda has not fallen. There's a place where we aren't conquered, taken away and spread out, and not by Christians,
Mm-mm.
not by Muslims. That we are at home and we are protected, loved, and
Exactly.
cared for. And it's not just a physical thing. It's not just slavery. It's also economically, spiritually, and people are just now starting to understand that yes, China and Africa has a huge relationship because China's putting a lot of money to do the same thing that European nations did by force. They're just
Mhm.
using money now, and they're taking resources away
Mhm.
from the continent. That's what makes the whole story of vibranium so important. It's like, no, you can't have our mineral.
You can't have our
No.
oil either. That's what another thing that's really cool about this is that they're sitting on a huge reserve of oil and they're not even thinking about it. Like, no, 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 we're not destroying the earth to sustain ourselves for however many years when we can use the sun, when we can use wind, when we can use vibranium, we can use everything else
Yeah.
that doesn't harm the earth. There you go.
Yes. Yes. Like I said, this and that these cartoons are the forebears to what we're seeing, because all that stuff is in the cartoon. Well, no, we will protect and defend what is
Mhm.
ours. No
Yep.
matter what, you don't get to take it, and we win. We did not get conquered. That is those seeds are sown throughout each and every one of these depictions of the Panther animation. That is the one thing I'm so proud of. When people decide to take these on, they don't leave
Nope.
those elements out. And it might be very subliminal, and you might have to wait till you're an adult for somebody to
Mhm.
explain that to you. But when you see it, it's already in your head because you've watched for years. Especially if you watch this, especially this episode. I mean, this series particularly, Earth Maya's Avengers, because it lasted for a
Mhm.
very good while. You constantly see, no, this is ours. We defend it. You can't have it just because you
Exactly.
want it. It
Mhm.
belongs to us. And that is something that I think a lot of people are waking up to thanks to the movie, but has already been established thanks to
Yes.
these cartoons. Because that economic exploitation of the continent, Wakanda ain't standing for. Like, you're not gonna exploit us.
Right.
Nah, we
We'll just
good.
sit here. We'll live our lives. Thank you very much. Like none of y'all are gonna do
Mm-hmm.
this, which is I think is something we'll talk about later. Just the whole concept of Claw, how he managed to know about Wakanda and tell the world about it. Um,
I mean, that's the thing. Like, Claw only shows up in like
True.
two of these
No,
shows.
that's true.
He shows up in the
That's true.
Fantastic Four one. Yeah, he shows up in the
Mhm.
Fantastic Four one, and he shows up in Earth Maya's Hero.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's it. He really doesn't affect. No, and he does show up in the BET version, but it's a toned
Yeah.
down version of Claw. It's not the what we would say comic version of Claw with the super villain costume. He's just a regular dude. Like, no, I'm just
Right.
gonna take all your stuff. He's
Mhm.
a colonialist. That's
Yeah.
basically what he is. And so it's Claw honestly represents one of the many enemies of Wakanda or
Mhm.
Africa
Yeah.
period and colonialism. But even doing the cartoons, we established there's way more things the
Mhm.
Panther can handle. Like colonialism is not a problem because again, we're not getting conquered. We're not really
Right.
worried
No,
about
that's
that.
true. You're absolutely right. It's like, I don't know, we're cool with that. If any problem with that comes up, we know
Yeah.
how to get rid of it. It's cool. We good.
Yeah, like Claw's a personal threat, but he's not a threat where we gotta mobilize everybody. I could deal with Claw. It's just colonialism. We've been beating
Right.
that since the beginning.
Mhm.
That's it's that type of fact.
That's true. And we have about 5 minutes left, and we have like three more shows to talk about.
Who said we got 5 minutes? Whose show is this?
5 minutes. We got 5 minutes.
What's this? Talk for as long as I feel like about Black
All
Panther.
right then.
Talking about 5 minutes. Ain't no boss around here, but
Ah,
wrong with you?
hey.
See, the Panther. If you was really into Wakanda, you understand that nobody gets to tell us what to do with
Right.
our show. That's how I know you haven't been watching
Excuse you.
these cartoons.
Then you don't know the household I've been raised in. I'm just saying. I'm just, I'm just saying.
No, but yes, let's breeze through these last ones because I believe the next one is kind of a copycat, and the other two I don't think I've seen. So
Okay,
let's
so
go.
the next one is 2013. Wow. Yeah, 2013
Mm-hmm.
Avengers Assemble.
And Avengers Assemble is a continuation of
Mhm.
Earth Mightiest Heroes. What Avengers Assemble is, it's taking that the cartoon that was
Mhm.
comic book accurate and making it
Yeah.
movie accurate. And if you've been watching the movie universe, just there's a lot of stuff in
Mhm.
the movie universe that's not in the 60, 50 years of
Right.
comic book history from the books. So they took that universe and made it more movie accurate and less comic book accurate. That's all they did, but it's the same continuation, the same voice actor, I believe, except
Mhm.
for a couple of episodes. All a little bit better animation, but just it's not as aesthetically pleasing for me as
Mhm.
Earth Mightiest Heroes. But it was decent animation, except for the Hulk. The
Oh,
Hulk
he
looks
was.
terrible in this show, but it was still a decent show. I watch it from time to time, not a lot because again, it just doesn't. I prefer the entire universe instead of a
Mhm.
segmented part. And that's what they kind of did. They segmented a lot of stuff off because they don't own the rights to those
No,
things.
they don't. But I also think it's just they just wanted to. I think more people were paying attention to the movie verse. So,
Yeah, because it looks more movie accurate. They definitely changed
mm,
all the costumes. So like I said, it looks better. It looks good. Panther looks great in this. He looks fantastic, and it's the same Panther from
mm,
Earth, Mightiest Hero.
yeah. So the next one is Wolverine versus Sabretooth.
Being an X
Mm.
Men fan, I am. Never seen this.
You want to know what's unfortunate? I barely got a glimpse of that one too, which is weird. I should because I absolutely love Wolverine, especially Wolverine versus Sabretooth. Like when those two go at it, that's I'm front row and center. But this one, it eluded me.
Never seen it. Never heard about it. When I heard it was the stop motion stuff, I'm like, wow, I figured that would have caught my interest. Never seen it, and I was just like, okay. When, like I said, we looked over our research for this episode, I was just like, yep, don't know nothing about this one. Don't know the voice actors. Don't know the studio that who animate. I don't know anything about this.
To be honest, it's pretty obscure. But I'm here. But
Mm-hmm.
looking it up, I've heard good things about it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't hear much about the appearance of Black Panther in this one though. Even though it's said that he appeared in this one.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, doing the research, I know he's in it, but I've never seen it.
Hmm.
Never
So
seen it.
that is something we need to work on if we can find it. That's another thing.
We'll be able
Sorry.
to find it. Mm. I think now, even though I think Marvel is pushing out new stuff because it's under the Disney
Mhm.
banner, so they wanted you to
Right.
buy the new merchandise and or stuff directly from the comic book company. I guarantee you, they are
Okay.
re-releasing some of these things. They're re-releasing collections. They're
They're
they,
out there somewhere.
they're
Yeah.
out there.
I agree.
Yeah.
That I
Mhm.
mean, it makes sense for them to do that in light of all that is happening right now.
Mhm.
And last but not least is Marvel Disc Wars: The Avengers, the ever just weird anime, like the anime, not animation from America, anime from Japan. And I'll admit this. From what I've seen, it's in terms of how the characters talk to each other, explaining what they're going to do, it feels kind of accurate. I don't know if it's me,
Mhm.
but I just couldn't help but laugh at it. Like just you know, like in most anime when there are two characters standing off about to fight, that they have to go on an explanation for 5 whole minutes as to what they're going to do, why they're doing it, you know, and again they were doing the same thing
Mm-hmm.
here. The animation is you know it's anime, but it looked like it was made like what? This came out in 2014 too. So
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't it question, wouldn't it be that it came out around the same time as Wolverine, the Wolverine anime?
I believe so. I think you got the dates in front of you. Like I said, I never heard of Wolverine versus Sabretooth one. Never heard, and definitely never seen this one.
Well,
And I like anime, but this one never
it's
showed up at all on
obscure,
my radar.
obscure. Like I didn't even know about it either. Like the Wolverine one, the anime one, I knew about that one
Mm.
a couple years ago. But again, it was like the way I heard it was either word of mouth, and I also follow some of the voice actors who do the English dub. I think it's Stephen Bloom who no, I don't know if it's him, but I heard it from somebody, and but I didn't see anything about it. I didn't hear any major news about it. It was just amongst like obscure anime fans, and that's it. So that
Yeah. I think this is something that Marvel maybe only publicized in Japan. They were testing out to see
hmm
how they would feel about it because I never heard nothing about it, not
right.
even a little bit.
It's just one of those things that it just makes you stop and think. So to our listeners out there, look, if you know of any other like obscure animation anime of like Black Panther or the just Avengers or Marvel stuff, even DC, just let us know. And again, we would love to talk about this because it's like just some of this stuff is like what it's just got us scratching our heads like how do we miss these, you know?
Yes, it's amazing that the ones especially the ones I miss are the ones that I miss during the information age where everything is so accessible. I'm like, I ain't never heard of this one. But the other ones as a kid, like you, that you could only see if you sat in front of the TV 12 hours a day, I caught all those.
Because I mean, I think at the time it's just like as kids we just that's what we did. We just sat in front of the TV because and now that we have all the access to almost everything, it's like oh I'll get to it later or whatever. Blah. So
Mm,
yeah, so
that's
it's
yeah,
like just a random side note. It's I remember during my Christmas breaks, you know, holidays, I would literally sit down and just watch marathons marathons of like X-Men and Spider-Man because that was all that was being shown. So
mm,
it's interesting how animation is being released now, and as to why we're like behaving this way with these last two.
yeah,
hmm
definitely. Like the ones, like I said, the ones that are more accessible, more even more acceptable as we get older. Because everybody, it's cool to still watch cartoons. You know, back then, man, in certain periods, like I explained, maybe it wasn't so cool to admit that you did. But now you're older, and you think those are the ones we've missed.
Right.
Those ones, I ain't never heard about that one. I don't know what that one is.
Wait a minute, what? Oh, where do I get a hold of this? Not on Netflix,
Mm.
not on Hulu. Like, nope,
No, Netflix on
not on
Hulu.
either one of those. Like, what other platforms we gotta probably gotta pay for? DVD? Nah. Is it
Right.
those obscure websites? Maybe. Maybe. If you're lucky. Maybe
Mm,
like one
maybe.
episode that they would show on
Maybe.
YouTube. And then you gotta go hunt down the rest of them elsewhere.
Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that was my hunt for
But
Marvel
yeah.
Disc Wars. To be honest, I'm like, you know what? This is
Mhm.
weird.
Yeah, but this is good. I think we did a really nice job. I don't think we missed anything, but like you said, if we have, please let us know in the comments. Um,
Yeah,
but
thank
that's
you.
our show. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do all the things that we do now. So age, like, comment, subscribe, share. Eventually we're gonna ask you to send us money, but we don't care about that right now. Right now, we just want you to enjoy. Just join us and join the conversation and let us know what cartoons you like that represent you, cartoons that look like you. And that's anybody, but of course, we would like to know about our brown brothers and sisters. Tell us the cartoons that affected you that made you realize, hey, I'm here and I can do this and it's cool.
Right. And
Let us
be
know.
sure to just let us know just how passionate you are about it because believe me, I can speak I can get real passionate about it. We could talk about this for 15 hours, whatever it is that gets you real excited. Let us know because we just love to talk about this. We love this. We love this as much as you do. So thank you so much for listening to our first episode. It's great that you guys sat down and wanted to hear our input on so many things, beginning with Black Panther because that's our superhero right there. And yeah, so subscribe, comment, hit us up on social media. Like I said, Facebook, Afro Anime Initiative, on Twitter, Afro underscore AI, and here on YouTube, comments below. We got other places to set up, but we'll let you know when you can just go all out and spam us with proper content. Please do not spam us with just random stuff because that could ban you. But do you? So once again, I'm Paulina Guerriere. Thank you
And I'm
so
Darren
much,
Bradley.
and keep listening, keep watching, and keep being passionate about what you love.